Hi guys, how's everybody doing tonight? How's it going? Can you guys let me know if you can hear and see me? Hi, Cherie. Is it Cherie or Sherry? Thank you guys. You know that's the game when you play live, right? Can you hear me? Can you see me? Are you okay? Hi, Victoria. Victoria, you've been putting some cards in our video feed. I mean, in our Facebook group. Thank you for that. I love it when everybody participates. I really appreciate it. The first one. So you're Cherie? Yes. Well, your middle name is Landry, so I'm assuming that's your maiden name. So chances are you're from Louisiana, or you have some kind of Cajun affiliation, right? Yeah. How many times have you been called Cherry? From Lafayette. Yes. Yes. Awesome. Well, guys, it's only 6:05, so we're going to give everybody a few more minutes. I know he just sent out a text message. Hi, Pat. How are you? Great. So, Victoria, too many to count. Very true. Very true. Very true. Yes. Um, my first name is Nicole. You would not believe how many different ways there are to spell the simple name Nicole. And it always cracks me up when people say, "Would you have an H?" And I was thinking, an H? That's a fancy way to spell Nicole. My mama, she just named me, spelled my name the old-fashioned way, Nicole. I have an E, and I don't have an H. I don't know. I don't know if it's the American way my mom spelled. I have to look. I never even thought about that. If my name is spelled like a French Nicole, or if my name is an American version. I don't know. All I know is she named me off of Nikki from what is that? Days of Our Lives. That's where she got my name from. And then my middle name is Marie, which pretty much almost all the little girls, about half of us in South Louisiana, our middle names are Marie or Teresa or one or the other, right? Yep. Funny. All right, so guys, I am super excited about this release. This release it's kind of like a little twist. Every Cajun girl's middle name. Yep, very true. Except I didn't name my daughter's middle name is Lauren because I wanted to name her Sydney and my husband wanted to name her Lauren. So we just kind of like meshed it together. But my great grandfather, his name was Sidney Knockham. So that's why we went ahead and went with Sydney, spelled, like a girl, Sydnee, instead of his name. So we went ahead and she was named after her great grandfather. But then Matt got his way also because he got the name Lauren into her name. So she's Sydney Lauren Peterson. Yes. And my middle name is Murray. My sister's middle name is Teresa. My mom's middle name is Teresa. My grandmother's middle name was Marie. Yeah, we got a lot of Maries. Yes, exactly. All right. So this month, some of what we have going on this month for the theme, we have a flower theme, which, if you're a PFS fan, we love flowers. However, I also threw in some clean mixed media elements, which when I say clean, meaning that they're stamps and dies that you could still use to produce a nice, simple card. Like this is a really fun, simple card. There's not much mixed media other than it's got a mixed media look to it. Okay. So what I've been learning about lately or discovering is that a lot of people really like the mixed media look. However, they don't necessarily enjoy having their hands dirty. I don't think it's hands. They don't like making a mess in their space, which I completely understand. However, I can say that the more you play around with mixed media products, you become much better at not making a mess. You just learn how to manage the mess, and you just do. You get where you can heat emboss a card with no mess. You can add some kind of glitz or glaze or lux or any kind of paste like substance or flicking, where you just learn not to make such a mess. The more you practice, it makes you better, right? Obviously. Okay, so it's about 6:09, so I'm gonna go ahead and get started. I'm gonna show you these cards first. So anyway, like I was saying, we have kind of like a flower theme and then like a mixed media art theme going on. But the mixed media elements are super clean and simple to use. Sorry guys, my dogs bark. We have two standard poodles and we just rescued a Aussie Doodle. So he's half standard poodle and half Australian Shepherd. So they like to bark. I apologize. And then she's in the living room with tall ceilings, so it's going to echo. So let me quickly text my husband and tell him to make her quiet. He might have forgotten that I'm live. All right, maybe he'll see that text message. Okay, so let's go. Let me go ahead and show you. So here, all of these cards except this one are from Brenda. Brenda is one of our design team members, and she always sends me her cards every month. So here, Brenda used our new background, full A2 card front background, guys, which I'm going to talk about. I'm super excited about it. It's one of those moments in life where I'm like, wait a minute. Oh, he came and closed the door. Isn't he sweet? So here is an example of our flower theme, as well as a little bit going on with the pretty floral background. So here we have, this is gorgeous. I love wood grain, and I think wood grain mixed with flowers and mixed media are just my favorite. This heart it's A2. You can see she has it overlapping just a little bit. However, it's not all the way to the bottom, so it does fit on an A2 card front. Now, if you wanted to use it sideways, you could always have 90% of it on the card, side folding vertically, and just have a little bit of the heart hanging off. But this is just gorgeous, guys. Who would not be in love with this? Oh, so pretty. And then this is another one. It's called A Peony of Contrast. And the name says it all because it's just such a really simple flower to color. It doesn't have a lot of the highlights in it. Oh, I know I should remember every single thing that we release, but where is this? Yes. So she did a no line coloring, but this is not as difficult to color because you can just follow the little details that I've given you, and the dark colors need to be where the lines are, and then the solid parts would be a softer color. Yes. Oh, I know. And it's striking. I mean, that's just all it is. When I pulled this out the envelope, oh, it's striking. And then she used the word friend from another one of our die sets that's being released. I admit it. I have been waiting to color this flower. Usually I'm about 1 or 2 months behind you guys in what I get to create. So hopefully sometime this month I'll get to play with Peony of Contrast. And you can see it is cut off on this side and it's cut off a little bit on this side. And that's because I wanted it to fit onto an A2 card front. So you can see that the way you turn it will depend. So you don't have a whole lot of overlapping on either sides, which is a good thing. Okay, then they have this gorgeous flower. Look at this. This is Kelly Taylor's newest stamp set with us, Graceful Magnolias. And this was actually a request from my daughter, Sydney. She is, we live in South Louisiana, and I don't know why, but she's like, Mama, can you do a stamp set or have Miss Kelly do a stamp set with magnolias? And we're like, sure, baby, no problem. And I love pink magnolias. So pretty. But you know, magnolias here in South Louisiana, they're not pink. Our magnolia trees produce a cream like it's not the yeah, it's cream. There's no other way to say it. It's a true cream colored magnolia bloom. And the leaves are just the most gorgeous deep green color. And then we have another Freckle Friends. This is artist Annie, and I did use her within the SCT cards delivered event that was about a month ago now. So I do have those to show you, and she's in this release. And then, like I showed you already, we have some fun, super fun mixed media products. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. Let me show you guys now. So we're going to start off with the flowery stuff, okay? Now, this right here is the stamp set that I was just telling you guys that I had. One day I had like a little epiphany in my mind. You know, it is what it is. But you know how we always make backgrounds that are 6 by 6, right? However, 90% of us do not make cards larger than 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. So I just started thinking one day, you know, why do we make stamps that are larger than A2 to sell to our customers who normally make A2 cards, right? So what I decided to do is I wrestled my stamp manufacturer's arm, and I really truly had to twist the arm a little bit to talk them into allowing me to produce stamps that are exactly A2 or a tiny little bitty bit over. So this stamp set actually completely measures 4 1/2 by 5 1/2. So it is meant for you to center it onto an A2 card front, and the whole entire image stamps beautifully. So there's nothing to overlap or no wastage. To me, wastage when it comes to what's on your stamp, right? We don't need to pay for a 6 by 6 stamp if we do A2 cards, you know. So you're gonna be seeing a lot of this, a lot more ways of trying to help you guys pinch your pennies or save your pennies, make them stretch, if you will. So this right here is 4 1/2 by 5 1/2, and it fits perfectly on the front of an A2 card front, and it is called Polka Dot Flora. And I'll get a little closer with it. This is a beautiful design. You know, this reminds me of it could be so many different things. You could look at this almost, this could actually be a Christmas stamp also, because you could color these and think of them as poinsettias, or like what Brenda did here. Brenda's really good at this. She often puts a large background stamp in her backgrounds and does it very subtly. And she also loves the color yellow like I do. So here we go. So this retails at, okay, 6 by 6 is $20.99. However, this 4 1/2 by 5 1/2, I really don't want to say how I would get in trouble if I said, but it lowers it by several dollars. Jen, if you don't mind, could you look online and see what the price is for these new 4 1/2 by 5 1/2? They're dollars less than the normal $20.99 for a 6 by 6 stamp. All right. Then we have, well, I showed you guys a minute ago, a Peony of Contrast. Now, this does not come with the die set because honestly, if you did want to have this cut out, it is a very simple line and it's a nice full black line. You could just hand cut this. Or I actually was thinking this is great for watercoloring because you can just heat emboss these thick lines and then drop your watercolor where you want it. And you could almost make 2 or 3 of these cards in about 15-20 minutes if you heat emboss this and just drop the color, you know, drop the dark color on top of these lines and then just kind of like spread it out with a wet dry technique. And seriously, you could have probably 5 or 6 of these cards to give away as a Christmas gift done in no time whatsoever. And this is a Peony of Contrast. Then I already showed you guys, we have one die and it says Friend. So it says Friend, you can see what it looks like here. And it also comes with the shadow. Okay, so it's Friend, it's a stacked die. Here's an example of it. And a lot of our people like stamp dies because it allows you to put a larger die, a longer word that normally you'd have to use on the 5 1/2 5.5 side of the card. But with these being nice and stacked, you get a nice full sentiment that takes up a lot of the card, but it also has that shadow. So if you notice here, Brenda used vellum, and I love that trick where you can use a background or mat your word, but instead of, you don't want to hide everything that you've been working on, right? So she used vellum, and that allowed her to use the entire word, but you can still see through the background. Isn't that smart? As well as her sentiment. The A2 stamp sizes are $15.99. Okay, so they are $4 less. So the A2, this size, that's 4.5 by 5.5, are $15.99 compared to a 6x6 that's $20.99. Now we do have some 6x6 that are all full size, obviously, that are $20.99. We're not going to bash those, but I did talk my stamp company into allowing me to produce stamps that shaved off those $4 extra, you know, or is it $5 extra? Yeah, Nicole, $5 extra, sorry. So that way you can actually stretch your stamp money, and make it go farther. I'm super excited about that. So again, the word friend is called Friend Stacked Word Die, and it does have the shadow. Another stamp set that die set, I don't know why I'm doing dies first, is Cheers. Now we've released many of these this year, guys, where you have a large word that stretches across the your card, and then you have this option here that says my friend to either go across the cheers, above the word cheers, or like Brenda did here, she stacked the word friend, and I'm gonna be honest, it looks like she did it 4 or 5 times. It's pretty thick. So she took that word friend, and you can see it might look like it's really fragile on the die, but as you can tell, she obviously, and I think she then covered it with the same paper glaze that she used on the background, which is Huckleberry Blue. It's a beautiful card. So this one is called Cheers, My Friend. So when you, and these words right here are not connected. However, the trick is when you die cut these, you keep your excess or the trash part of it, and you use that as the template to pop these letters back in, and you have perfect placement. And then My Friend, like I said, you can use it by its own. You can put it on top of the cheers. You can put it, across the cheers. You can put it on top. You can put my here. Friend going across cheers. There's so many different ways to use these, and they're really inexpensive. I think they're $12.99, $13.99, something like that. They're a good price. Okay, I'm going to come back to this one. Then we have Beauty Found in a Vase. So this is one, and it's not as dark as this looks, guys. Remember, that is just the acetate. Here's her card. You can see that lots of space right there to get in color. That's just the acetate that does that. That makes it look like it's super dark when it's not. Anyway, this is called Beauty Found in a Vase, and it does come with a coordinating die. I love anything in a vase. And I think this is a good stamp to have all year round. Because if you look at this, she went with pinks and oranges and yellows, but you could easily go with lighter pinks and even some reds in there, or darker reds, and even almost make this into a Christmas one. And I don't know about you, but I love to color vases, and I always like to challenge myself to make it look more like water, because that's kind of a hard little technique to do, especially with Copics. I can do it with watercoloring, but Copics for me to get a vase to look like this is a little bit of a struggle. But this is gorgeous, and it's called Beauty Found in a Vase, and it does come with, let me read you the sentiments. In time, we will look back and know we formed a lifelong friendship. My sister, thank you. I care about you. I was blessed twice, once for you being my sister, and second for you being my friend. I hope this card finds you having a nice day. My friend, love you. You are my sister by choice. And if Dawn is watching, that's for her right there. She always calls me her sister. You have always been a good friend because I love you always. So this stamp set, oh, and by the way, this is a 4x5. It's not a 4x6. Another way that I've been trying to save on money for our customers is instead of doing a full 4x6, which is $16.99, I've been doing 4x5s, which is it's just a little bit less, and you're really only losing maybe 1 centimeter, and that's it. But these only cost $13.99, so you save $3 by losing that 1 little inch at the bottom, and you end up with a beautiful stamp set. This is not made smaller because of it, and it's called Beauty Found in a Vase. And you can see Brenda's beautiful card. Okay, another, I'm going to call this a floral, because I always put these guys, usually I put this when I make my stash of things. Oh, $11.99. Okay, so I'm sorry. So the Cheers is $11.99, not $13.99 or $12.99. Thank you, Jen. So here, now this one is a 6x6 stamp set, but that was the only way I could get this beautiful heart to actually fit. Or is it a 5x5? Let's see. Let me take it out the packet. It's either a 5x5 or 6x6. If it's a 5x5, then that means it's going to be yes. So this right here, this is a 5x5, not a 6x6. So 5x5s are $18.99, I think, which saves you, what is that? Not $2, $3 off a 6x6. And this does fit beautifully onto an A2, and it says, "Happy birthday to you. Thinking of you. I'm sorry to hear of your loss. Congratulations, and have a wonderful day." This is going to be sitting on my desk. This is going to be a good staple for me. I just love, and guys, if you don't want it to be in a heart shape, you could stamp this and then die cut something. It's so large that you could actually die cut a shape into the stamp and turn it into a different shape if you didn't want a heart. You could probably even cut it down to make it into a rectangle. It's very pretty. I love this one. And again, I'm like, anything with wood grain is all my jam. And it does come with a coordinating die for all the sentiments. And if you remember, we absolutely love our sentiments having dies, but our dies are also pre-clipped. You do not need those scissor things or to wiggle out and break our dies apart. Already, Picket Fence Studios got you covered, and you will find them just like this in your packaging. So this is a 5x5. I apologize. So it's either, I think it's $17.99 or $18.99. We will be having more 5x5s coming out. Here's Kelly's beautiful stamp set, which is a 5x5, which puts it under the $20 limit. So $20 level, I mean. So right here, these are those graceful magnolias that I told you that my daughter had requested. So I asked Kelly if she could illustrate this for us. And look how beautiful. I mean, here's my hand. So you can see just how large this one limb, if you will, of a magnolia. And then she gives you this full open bloom. And here you have extra leaves. And you have, this would be like a budding, like it's just starting to open, the magnolia. Again, I love watercoloring, and this in pink is it's definitely going to be something that I'm going to do. Actually, I owe my kid a birthday card, and I know I'm terrible, right? But this one that Brenda did is in some deep purples and some pale pinks. But look how gorgeous that is. It takes up so much of the card, really gives you a nice full display or area. These words are "with sympathy," which you can see that Brenda used, "sending love," "hello," "thinking of you," oh goodness, "thinking of you," and "friends." So this is called Graceful Magnolias. It does have a coordinating die set, and that includes the sentiments. And this is by Kelly Taylor. Graceful Magnolias. It's a beautiful set. Okay, now let's move on. Let's move to the artsy side of this, okay? There's several things, the artsy, or you could say the art-ish. So I did participate in the Scrapbooking Cards Today Cards Delivered event, which was in the beginning, end of September, beginning of October. It's almost been a month. So this right here is Artist Annie, and she's this is our third release of our Freckle Friends line collection. So before we had Penelope Pumpkin, which I did find one card of Penelope Pumpkin to show you. And then the third installment was Bella Boo, which I couldn't grab a card. I just couldn't find the card for it. So this is your third in the collection of Freckle Friends Freckle Friends Artist Annie. And I do have, this is one of the cards that I taught in the Scrapbooking Today event, Scrapbook and Cards, the SCT event. And you can see she's watercoloring in her studio. And here's another one. This is one that Brenda colored and sent. Also, she also colored up Artist Annie. Isn't that beautiful? And here's another one of my cards that I did for the SCT event. And this is a, whoops, hold on. This is terrible. I should not be showing this. This doesn't have a card back. So I need to put it on a card back still. But so we had, you're going to see these little images behind her. Those are a set of our glossy A2 card friends. Super, super excited. All right. So like I said, this is a new version, a new installment of our Freckle Friends. This is Artist Annie. It says Happy Day. Thanks, which is the word thanks come out separate from the easel. It has a little separate flower. The watercolors and coffee cup are attached to the easel. It's your special day. Hello, friend. Hi, and thanks. And she does come with the coordinating die that does include all of the sentiments as well. So I'll show you that real quick. So this is Artist Annie. You can see her here and here. And she's here. And you can see, look how great she looks on a vertical and a horizontal card, both ways, right? Did I show you guys this for the Magnolia? Look, I'm going to show you again if you didn't get to see it. So this is that Magnolia that Kelly had just illustrated along with my wood hearts. Look how gorgeous that is together. And here she used one of our new stencils as well. Okay, so that's Artist Annie. She's the third installment of Freckle Friends. Now, we do plan on releasing Freckle Friends every month until you guys get bored of it. I couldn't imagine, though, because I absolutely adore them. They're so fun. The artist who draws Freckle Friends for us lives in the Ukraine. So it's always a pleasure to support someone that you know could use a little extra help. Hi, Savanya. Hello, darling. Okay, so we're going to move on now to sort of what we're going to call mixed media. It's clean mixed media, though. So it's, and you can see like here with Brenda, what she did with hers. I wouldn't even call this truly a mixed media card. She made it into a little notebook cover. So look how cute. Wouldn't that be, hello there. And she used this die right here. So this die is called A2 Ripped Notebook Cover Plate die. So it's going to completely die cut a whole entire front of, like you ripped it out, and it rips it out from the top and also has this rip at the bottom. It's going to emboss the lines, and it's going to also emboss this line right here. So on a notebook, you would have, hi Charlene, you would have, this would have been red and these lines would have been blue if you were in a real notebook, right? This is so super fun. I love the way that Brenda did this. And look, she just put some little black cardstock right there, rounded the edges, and used one of our A2 glossy card friends. I was really happy how this die came out. Then we have 3 stamps. And guys, these are going to be that 4 1/4 by 5 by 5 stamp price. So what did she say that price? $15.99. So instead of these being like an A2 base or even a 5 by 5 or a 6 by 6 base, they are 4 1/2 by 5 1/4. So that way you get these nice big stamps, and they're only $15.99. So actually, you know, a 4 by 6 is $15.99 also. And here you're getting 4 1/2 by 5 1/2. So this is a grid. This is called A2 Notebook Grid. So this peels off, and when it peels off, you get this beautiful, nice grid, which this would be great for a science card or math or teacher card. There's so many different things you can do with grids. And I admit it, I do love grids. When I was a scrapbooker, or I still am a scrapbooker, but when I started scrapbooking, when I started scrapbooking, grids and charts and graphs were like really popular. And I really think that's what got me into scrapbooking at first, because I love anything with a grid or a graph. It just, to me, brings that artsy element to things. So right here, this is the grid. So you would stamp the grid, and this, and you can stamp this in blue if you like. And then right here is a line. This line right here comes and stamps right there. And you could stamp that in red. So you can literally make this look just like a notebook page. Isn't that fun? And then I wanted to, anytime you have mixed media, you always have like little words or things. So here I made this little bitty alphabet, and it reminded me of the Rolodex my grandmother had when I was a kid. So here you have the whole alphabet, here you have numbers, and here is the whole alphabet again, but it's in cursive. So I'm ready to get into this one as well. This is fun. A2 notebook card grid. Super fun. And like I said, they're only $15.99, and it's a 4.5, 4.25 by 5.5. Then we have these other two. Now, obviously, this is all meant to work together, correct? So here, this, you have a solid piece, okay, of stamp, and it's called A2 torn notebook page. So that this is the A2 grid. This is marble notebook cover, okay? Now, these are all meant to work together. So if you wanted to, you could just stamp this edge right here onto the edge of your card, or you could make your note paper grid and then take this and stamp it on the side to make it look even more like a notebook. Oh, that's okay. Just come back later, Pat. We understand, sweetheart. And then you could combine these two together with this beautiful ripped edge along with this grid and have all kinds of fun things. Now, I'm not going to put this one away yet. This one is called A2 marble notebook cover, and I'm going to get it closer. It is the marble notebook cover, like what we would buy, what we used to call them journals. Now, this, you can use it just like this, okay, and make a gorgeous card front, okay? However, you know what else you can do? Since this is a nice solid piece of photopolymer, you can actually take this stamp. What you would do is you would ink this stamp up first, then you would take this one and you would do the kissing technique, where this one does not have ink on it. You would just take this one and put it on top and lift ink. And what would happen is this pattern is going to stay on top of this notebook card. Isn't that fun? So that way you're gonna, it's like a double, they work together. And you could do the same technique with this grid. You would ink up the notebook with just regular ink and then take this stamp and place it on top and then lift it up, and it's going to remove ink and leave the pattern. So I know there was going to be questions about why I would make such a solid stamp like this. That's because I really wanted you to be able to play with it and see all the different things that you can do. Now, another thing you can do with stamps like this, you can take a die, okay? And you can die cut this. I do suggest you die cut it out of thick cardstock. You can take a die, you ink this up, then you take the die, the paper die, and you place it on top and lift it up, and it'll reveal the pattern of your die as well. How fun is that? Really, really fun. And they all work together. So you can see, you can get one of our design team members emailed Jen like right away and said, y'all were channeling my heart, because she's like such a mixed media lover, but she's a card maker as well. Then we have two stamps. Excuse me, guys. I was getting ahead of myself. Two new stencils. Okay. If you did the SCT, then you received a stamp, the stencil that was similar to this. However, it was a 6x6. This is a 6x8. And let me show you, I love this stencil. So here you can see on this card right here, I taught this very, very simple technique where you ink up the stencil. I can't tell you all the secrets, can I? But let's just say you use the stencil as a stamp instead of as a stencil, and you end up with the negative or the opposite part that you're supposed to use for a stencil, right? So there's this one. You can see that stencil there. And then where's that lovely card? Oh, where's her card? The one this one. The beautiful peony. Do you see that pattern on back of it? There you go. This also is frame of mind, but look what she did. She put it at an angle. I love that, Brenda. Absolutely. Oh, come on. Not so much better. There we go. Okay. She put the stencil at an angle, and that is something we always should think about, because stencils, I know, right? You saw that. Stencils are they're one of the most versatile and well, I would say inexpensive, but lately I'm not sure about that. They are so versatile because the stencil doesn't just have to be used flat, straight up and down. You can turn it put it at a diagonal. You can turn it sideways. You could use it as a stamp. Also, some of them, this one is pretty much the same on both sides. This one you couldn't, well, you could stencil it one way and then pick it up and turn it the next way, and you could end up with a simple plaid or really fun plaid design, as well as this one. So this one is called Let's Paint. This is a larger version, not larger. This is a modified version of one of the stencils we released in the very beginning, like 6 years ago. And I loved that stencil, but you have to move on from it and discontinue it to create new ones. Well, when I was looking the other day at some older products, I was like, oh, no. I love this. And I knew it was going to look really good. So it's called Let's Paint. So how cool is that, right? This would be perfect to come in with some kind of watercolor. Or how about this? You just put this down on your paper and then take our splatter and splatter through it. Splatter through the stencil, let that dry, and then come back and put the stencil on top of it, do it in a different color. And you could do that 2 or 3 times, and then you would lift it up and you would have splatter in the stencil pattern. Isn't that super fun? You also could take this stencil, like again, ink this up, take the stencil and put it down with no ink. Just use it almost like you were blotting something, like a piece of paper or a tissue or paper towels. You could put it down on this stamp and lift it up, and you will reveal your pattern from your stencil. And who knows, maybe if I hurry up, I can do that for you guys in a minute. Okay, so you saw this. Here's a new die. It's called A2 Basket Weave Cover Plate die. Our cover plates, I also try to always price them less than $20. When I started card making, cover plate dies were like $25 to $30. I remember how expensive they were, and I wanted every single one of them. So I do try to make them quite often because there's so much you can do with a good cover plate die. Again, it's almost as versatile as your stencils are, because if we don't forget about them, you could also use this to emboss. So this could be basically an embossing folder that will not have the plastic curl up on you and get destroyed, because this is the same exact thing. You could do all your different techniques on here as you would with an embossing folder. I love this. Okay, now I have one more die I want to show you, but I want to show you these 2 things first. This die I have to talk about. All right, so we have 2 papers packs this month of glossy A2 card fronts. Let me show you the memo. So this is called Memo Pad Brights. I love a good memo pad, obviously. So I wanted you guys to have some pre-done memo pads already ready to go. And you can see these are called the Brights, Memo Pad Brights. So we have this gorgeous pink. And before I get too far, A2 glossy card fronts are exactly that. They're A2 card fronts, and it's a glossier type paper. So they're really nice. They're not dull like you see a lot of scrapbook paper where it's like dull and muted colors. This is on a glossy card front. So if you look at it, you can see it's just they're just so much more vibrant. And again, here's this card. You can tell, look how vibrant that blue is. Instead of, if it was on regular scrapbook paper, it would be a little bit dull. So you're going to get 12 A2 card fronts of 3 different patterns. So you get 3 colors, 4 of each. So you get hot pink, this gorgeous turquoise, which of course we love, and then have to include a green and the lime green. So if these do really well, I will come out with more colors. I really want some brown ones and maybe a black one that we could run through the foiling, through our foil, and see what comes out. Okay, so those are A2 fabulously glossy A2 card fronts Memo Pad Brights, and these retail for $9.99. So you get 12 card fronts, $9.99. Good deal. Now this is a product that I use in my cards, also for the SCT event, guys. basically, I keep saying it because I was able to release. We have to hold our products back until the event, and then we're allowed to release them. So this is called Dream Studios. So what you're going to see here is you're going to see this, where it's a background of a studio, of like an art studio. And there's one that's like a sewing studio. Here's another card that I did for the SCT event where I cut a hole into a regular card front that I used with that Frame of Mind stencil and the sampler pack of paper glaze. And this is just our window die, or if you have an arch die, any kind of arch die or window die, and I just die cut it into it and then popped the studio behind it. Isn't that fun? And then there's a few others. Oh, this one. Okay, so pretend it's on a card back. I'm sorry, I usually don't do this. But this here, this window die is also one of these studios. One of these Dream Studios A2 glossy card fronts. And you can see I cut a whole bunch of windows and I put one of these Dream Studios cards behind it and then put Artist Annie in the front, pop this up. It was really good. And if you haven't ever attended one of the Scrapbooking Cards Today events, guys, you learn so many things, so many tricks and techniques. And you also get to watch, I mean, these are all top professional card makers. They're all designers, or some of us are designers as well as owners, but you learn these techniques that I have 2 full hours, and in those 2 full hours, I can teach so many different techniques, and it's video recorded, so you can watch it, and it stays up as long as she's going to be in business. So it'll be there forever. And that's the magazine Scrapbook and Cards Today. So here's your Dream Studio cards, friends. So you have first, there's this one. This is a beautiful, so it's a pinkish room. Red is a really good color to use like for a background. This one I thought was fabulous because I love the little totes that you can see that they have here. I love the little lanterns hanging down, the books and the pens. This could be almost any type of art studio. It doesn't have to specifically be for card making or for scrapbooking or for sewing. It's just a generic little desk. It could not even be an art room. It could just be someone's beautiful office. So here's one. Here's another one. Now this one is definitely a type of art room, and look how fun this one is. So here, I love this little dangling right here across. These look just like stamp pressure tools, don't they? Isn't that fun? And you have paint going across, and you have this cute little file cabinet, and she's got all kind of fun things tucked under her desk. It just looks like a room you'd want to go and play in, right? Yes, I agree, Bobby. Very much so. And then here's another one. I had to do something teal because I know my ladies love their teal. This one actually is in here twice. So you're going to get this purplish blue version, okay, with a little lime green kick to it. It's like a purplish, and you can see you could say it's a sewing room if you want, but a lot of people sew, and also they sew on their cards and their scrapbook. So it does have a little sewing machine and this cute little plant and swatches and all just kind of fun girly stuff. And then this is the exact same pattern. However, I made this one into teals and wood grain because I know my design team are obsessed with dark teals. So I knew that y'all would squeal over this one. And I love the way she had this little pendant across the top. And we know these are swatches, but they could have been paint swatches. I mean, she's got a little thread. This could be any type of studio. Just fun, right? So aren't these fun? So again, you get, now this one's different. This one has 4 different designs. Normally we do 3 designs and you get 4 of each. This time I wanted to include all the designs I used in that event. So you get 3 of each, but you get 4 different patterns, where all of our other glossy card fronts are 3 patterns and you get 4 of each. You still get 12. It's just, this is 3 times 4 and this is 4 times 3. Same thing. All right. So this is called Dream Studios. And guys, just think of all the different ways you can put them behind. If you don't want to use the whole card, you can use it behind windows. You could use the whole card front just as it is. And you don't even have to look at this one that Brenda did. This is a totally cute, it's almost one layer. I mean, she just has this little hello friend popped up. But isn't that sweet? How cute is that? Hello, friend. And there you go. So cute. So we have the Memo Pad Brights, which actually also work great with Artist Annie as well. And we have Dream Studios. Okay. Now, I want to show you something that literally has taken us a year. No. Hold on. 10 months. 10 months to get this back in stock, okay? This is called Beyond Basics A2 Rectangles and Cover Plates. And you can see it's a very nice full-size die set, right? About 10 months ago, we came out with a product that was just like this. However, we found as we were getting towards the middle of our stash, there were defects in the rectangles. So as soon as we found those defects, we ripped them off. We took them down altogether, and I was like, we'll just discontinue them. And then actually my design team were like, no, don't discontinue them. We need them. Please just have them, please just see what's going on. So what the defect was that the rectangles were not thick enough. They were super, super thin. And what would happen is when you would die cut a rectangle, it would bow out and it wouldn't make it, it wouldn't stay straight. So what this is this is the revamped version. These are 5 A2 rectangle layering dies that decrease by 1/8 of an inch. So what does that mean? That means that you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 layering dies. So this one is the full A2 size. This one is the size. This one cuts out in paper that goes right on top. And I can tell that this card, when I pulled these out, I knew right off the bat that this right here, you see how it's perfectly cut, the yellow. Now, guys, if you've never had a rectangle die that cuts out an A2 card front before, you're missing out. Because what's great, everybody can cut a rectangle. I know we all got paper trimmers, right? We can no problem doing that. However, a die cutting out your A2 card front gives you this perfect little straight line, and it actually bevels it just a tiny little bit. And it's not something that most people would actually catch. But as card makers, we are a little bit more a perfectionist. We all know this, right? And it just gives you that perfect little oomph. And as you can see, she stamped on top of it. So this is her card base, A2. So this was the A2 version. She used this die right here to die cut her A2 card front. So it leaves just a little bitty bit of pink poking out. Okay, so it allows you to layer, but not layer a whole bunch. I'm gonna be honest, I'm not the kind of girl that likes to layer. You wanna know why? Because I could never, not that I couldn't figure out the measurements. Cutting paper straight is challenging, plain and simple. It just is. And I always wanted a die set that would allow me to just have an A2 card front die that I could just pump out like 20 of them, just die cut over and over, and have a stash of them already pre-cut and have that nice pretty edge that comes with it. Okay, so what this is, these are 5 layering A2 card fronts. Okay, however, they decrease in size by 1/8 of an inch. So let me open this, but I did want to show you guys the packaging for, and it shows you right here that the largest one is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. Then it goes down 1/8 of an inch, and it goes all the way down to 3.75 by 5. So you can actually stack all 5 of these if you like, and they go down perfectly at 1/8 of an inch. Now, because I design these things all the time, I know that this open space, see this open space right here, was just going to be left blank. So you were going to end up with just five rectangles, and you would not, this open space would just be left open completely. So what I like to do is if there's open space, I'm going to fill it. Okay. It won't cost you any extra money, believe it or not. It's for me to put these nice thick cover plates in here. So not only do you get the five I sound like an infomercial. Not only do you get the 5 layering rectangles, you also get 3 cover plate dies. Now, these are not perfectly A2 because as you saw, I just took that out of here. These are smaller than A2 and they're all three different sizes because I used the open space, okay, the open space to give you 3 cover plates. So they're not A2, but you can see they all 3, like this one is smaller than this one, and the heart will go in the middle. So the bumblebee background is the largest, then the hearts, and then this version here. So they all are 3 smaller, but that doesn't matter because I use that open space between these rectangles, which allows you to get which allows you to get these 3 cover plates. This is $39. So it's like $39.99. But with that, you're getting 8 dies. So you're going to get a whole set. And look how thick these are. Like, I don't even have to worry about pulling them off and bending them. And I'm going to admit, this was kind of, let's just say you got to learn to talk to some people in this industry. And you have to be very specific, obviously, in any industry. However, even though you write it down on there, doesn't mean that it's actually going to come back the way you wanted it to, right? So we did discontinue this set and we're re-releasing it. But last time it only had 2. So it had 1, 2. So what I did, so we could have thicker dies, is I broke them apart and made it into 3 stacks instead of 2. And that allowed us to get the 3rd cover plate die as well as have our dies extra thick. So these are not going to bend. And if any of you have ever bought nesting dies before, you know that nesting dies, the dies that are like literally, they're one after another and they're just like piled up right on top of each other, those dies come very thin. And the reason they're so thin is because they're trying to nestle as many of them as possible. Well, my goal was not trying to get as many rectangle dies as possible. I wanted rectangle dies that cut straight. Okay, that was the goal of this. I wanted to be able to pull this out, die cut my A2 card fronts, find and you just hold them up and then you could very easily tell what the next size is. Then die cut a card front and know that when I pop one on top of the other, it's going to be perfectly 1/8 of an inch smaller, just like this card. So this is her card front, right? And then she took the second largest one, which is 4.125 by 5.375. I suggest you keep this little square right here, guys. That way you know what the exact measurements are. Just pop it into your storage stuff. And that way you always know the sizes of the 5 rectangles. So she used this die here with an A2 card front to die cut her layering. And she knew it was going to be straight. And because, remember, I took this off the market because they were too thin. So what I did, and it took a while to have the understanding of I'm not going to settle for these thin dies. So you have 5 of them that all layer. Now, if you wanted more than 1/8 of an inch, let's say you wanted 1/4 of an inch. Well, that's okay. You have a smaller one that will give you 1/4 of an inch all the way around. So you actually see more of the pink. So you just imagine double the pinkness on either side of the card, right? You can do that. No problem. You have the die to do it. These dies, what I do with them, I don't even put them away. They are on a hook, one of those little open and close D rings. And I have these hanging on there and they literally hang on a hook right next to my die cut machine because that's how often I know I'm going to use these. So this is one of those sets that I know I say this every single month. I really do create a lot of the product based upon what I like and what I would use, because I am a card maker. I don't just make products. I use all of them. And that's where most of the time I come up with ideas, and that's my inspiration, or things that I'm like, God, I wish I had this. Well, Nicole, try making it. You can do it. All right. And then you have this A2 cover plate, which fits. And guys, if you wanted to die cut this and you wanted to just make a layer on top of this, that's great. Grab one of these rectangles and you're going to it might look off because you have to remember they have the excess metal that I had them redo, but you can have a layer on top of this and it's perfectly sized for you. I mean, I'm so excited about these. Super, super excited. And again, these are called Beyond Basics A2 rectangles and Beyond Basics A2 rectangles and cover plates. And it is PFSD 480, and they are waiting for you. And like I said before, you get 8 dies. So you get 3 rectangle cutting dies, and then you get the 3 inner cover plates. All right, so now the only thing we have left are, let's talk about gems. We did release a brand new dark set of gems. Now, for some reason, this name has escaped my mind of what this is called. Jen or Charlene, could one of you tell me? Oh, wait, let me reach over here and grab it. Okay, I'm sorry. All right, so we have 2 gem sets. This one is called Thunderstorm. So they literally look, so they're a very dark but shiny gray. If you want to say gunite, they're not as harsh as black. They've got that pretty iridescent gray to it. And this one comes in 3 sizes. So it has 5 millimeter, 4 millimeter, and 3 millimeters. And if you see that tiny little one right there, see that one? That's what we call the babies. Everybody is always asking me to put more babies in the compacts. Well, this size right here is the most expensive one out of all 3 sizes. So because it takes up less space. So they're sold, when they sell them to us, they sell them, and this smallest one is the most expensive. So we have to be careful how many of the 3 different sizes we put into a compact, right? It has to be equal. Well, so this is Thunderstorm, and it has the 5 millimeter, 4 millimeter, and 3 millimeters. Now, I was digging around the other day because there's not many things that I keep at my house. Most things are kept at the warehouse. However, the gems are at my house. So the other day I was cleaning up a room that the gems are in my house, and I came across a big bag of just the babies. The babies, just the little bitty babies, guys. And I was like, oh, I'm going to go put some of those babies in my compact. Ooh, wouldn't that be fun? Then I started thinking, wait a minute. If I love the babies as much as I wonder if other people love the babies. Now, these are the 3 millimeter. I know I'm calling them babies, but these are the 3 millimeter. And this is the first gems we're releasing that's only one size. So all of these are 3 millimeters. Now, this compact costs $12.99. Yes, that's a little shocking for price. However, you're getting a complete compact, okay, one of our compacts of just the babies. And like I said, because, yes, the babies. I always search out and dig out the babies, Charlene. And this one right here is called Day and Night, 3 millimeters. So we do have a matching gem set that's called Day and Night, which is for sale. It's actually one of our first gem sets we ever put out. And the Day and Night that does not say 3 millimeters, that one has 3 millimeters, 3 millimeter, 4 millimeter, and 5 millimeter black and clear, okay, gems. Now, I'm not bragging when I say this, but our gems really are the best. They are only one step down from Swarovski crystals. Okay, guys? No one's ever going to look at this and say, oh, those are cheap little gemstones that she grabbed from the Dollar Tree. No, absolutely not. These are high quality. And like I said, they're only one step below Swarovski crystals. Okay, so this is our very first release of only putting in the 3 millimeters, or we call them the babies. So I'm super excited because I like to put, I don't have a card with, I Anyway, I like the babies because when I'm putting them on a card, like let's say if she'd have put some on here, I like the babies because you can put like one or two little ones real close, and then I put two right here, and then come and put another one right here to follow the rule of thirds. They're just so tiny, and they just give that perfect little oomph to your card. Okay, so again, this is called Day and Night 3 millimeters. Okay, and you do get them in a compact, but look how many. I mean, it's like insane. They are $12.99 because the babies take up less space, and that's just what we get. That's what we pay for them. Trust us. Trust me. We don't up our prices on things just to try to rip people off. We're all just crafters, right? So we have 2 gem releases. We have Thunderstorm, which is 3 millimeter, 4 millimeter, and 5 millimeter, and they look like gunite. They're called Thunderstorm. Then we have the gem mix that is called Day and Night 3 millimeter. This one only has 3 millimeters of black and clear, and we will continue to release these. So if you want, you can kind of think of this as a supplemental set to your original one, because I know I use all my babies, and then I'm out of babies, and I'm like, oh, I still have some left. I need more babies. Now you can buy more babies. Sorry that they're so much more expensive. I do apologize for that, but it couldn't be helped. Okay, this is a new sampler, paper glaze sampler. This is the one that was included in the SCT event. This is Huckleberry Blue, Primrose Yellow, and Clear Twinkle Lights. So let me show you what these look like. So Primrose, I'm a yellow girl. I love anything yellow. So this is Primrose here. However, I did put, after it was dry, I put yellow ink on top of it to make it look much more of like a one tone. This is what Primrose Yellow looks like. It is yellow. It's not a cream color. It definitely is yellow, but it is one of the lighter shades. However, it is one of those shades that I use quite often. And you can see the difference. That this is with ink on top of it, and this is just on white cardstock. Okay. Then you get a sampling of our Twinkle Lights Clear, which if you see here, that's what is on top of this. I can't tell you how I made it. However, this is the Twinkle Lights Clear that I used on a stencil. I put it very thick. Then on another stencil, I made the card front and literally took the crystal, Twinkle Lights crystal, and just put a thin layer on top of it and let it dry. And look at all that shimmer and shine. Why can I never can catch the lights. Can y'all? Okay, it has a whole bunch of shimmer and shine. Okay. Now, last 2 products, guys. We have released 2 more opaque splatters. You guys love our splatter, so we just go with it. You want splatter, we'll give you splatter. However, these are opaque, meaning they're going to dry and you can't see through them. Now, if you water them down a lot, you're going to end up with less opacity. However, these 2, the opaque gold and the silver, I barely put any water in it because when I'm using a metallic color and I want it to not be translucent, I like my splatters to be nice and thick. And remember, we have a great splatter paintbrush that goes with this. I think it's only $4.99, and it has the super long handle on it, which allows you to have more control over your flicking. We have opaque silver and opaque gold. And what's great about our splatter is you can use them straight out the jar. So you just open it up, put a little on your surface. If you want to add water, you can add water. If not, don't. And then you just pick it up with your brush. Oh, here's a fan brush. You would just pick it up with your fan brush and then splat, splat, splat. I'm splatting my mats. Let's try gold. You'll be able to see that one. It doesn't take much. If you want to add water, go ahead, add water. I'm just like that with my opaques, that when I use like a metallic opaque, I like, can y'all see that? Probably not. Anyway, so that's how I use them. And this is our little fan brush. It has a very long handle. This is probably about 5 or 6 years old. One of our first products that I had asked Matt to source for me from China for our company. And I like this because you get less mess on yourself because of the long handle, and it allows you just to have a farther reach. And it's a very thin brush. You see how thin these are? Because they're so thin, it works better with splatter. The thicker the head of the brush, the harder the splatters are going to be to get them where you want them to go. So, okay, guys, well, that was about an hour. I hope everybody found something that they like. Remember, we do bundle things on the website. So if you want Artist Annie, the stamp, and the die, don't put the stamp in your cart and then put the die in your cart. Scroll down right underneath the stamp and right underneath the die. There's going to be a third Artist Annie. And when you buy them together, bundled, you get 10% off. So always look for that. When it's a stamp and die set, you get 10% off. If you buy the whole entire release, you get 20% off, free shipping, and a nice free gift. All orders over $60 every day, any day. All orders over $60 are free shipping. We have some other bundles on there that I created, and they also have 10% discount. They're products that I created to work well together that we make bundles of. So make sure before you fill your carts, go look through all those bundles and see if you can find yourself a good deal. All right. Okay. Well, have a good evening, guys. I hope you found something that you like. I know I'm going to play with these two. I'm going to play with this. See this? I'm going to pull out all my cover plates. Ooh, this is cool. Ink this up and then put this cover plate on top of it. I would die cut this out of paper and put it on top of it like this, and then pick it up, and it's going to remove some of that ink. That's called the kissing technique. All right, guys. See you soon. Now, I will be back hopefully sometime this month. I'll have time to come back and do another live and actually make a card with you guys and show you some fun techniques. All right. Good evening. Have a good day. Thanks for coming. Bye-bye.